Today we're going to continue our discussion on the Compromise of 1850. Let's review the major parts of the Compromise of 1850. To begin, California enters the Union as a free state. Remember, thousands and thousands of people flocked to California during the Gold Rush. The slave trade was banned in D.C. The Fugitive Slave Act is strengthened, so now any person that escapes into the North can be brought back into slavery, and Northerners hate this because it brings slavery into their backyards. Many of them pass personal liberty laws. Many Northern states pass personal liberty laws in order to stop slave catchers from enforcing the Fugitive Slave Act. Popular sovereignty, which again means that the people choose or the people decide, is allowed to occur in Utah and New Mexico. So the people in those territories can decide whether or not they have slavery. In 1854, the Kansas-Nebraska Act is passed. Stephen Douglas, who is a senator from Illinois, wants to negotiate a deal in which the Northerners would be able to construct a railroad that would go through Chicago. And in return for that railroad, they would allow Kansas to have popular sovereignty. Okay? See, we see the people down here choosing. Some of them say slavery, and some of them say no slavery. So the issue is whether or not we're going to allow Kansas to have popular sovereignty. With the Kansas-Nebraska Act, again, the North gets a railroad that runs through Chicago, and Kansas is allowed to have popular sovereignty. Now, let's see how this is going to turn into some drama. Okay, so the first problem with this Kansas-Nebraska Act is that Kansas is above the 3630 line. Remember that line? The 3630 line says that there should be no slavery in the territory gained in the Louisiana Purchase, above that line. Clearly, Kansas is above that line. What does the Kansas-Nebraska Act do? It absolutely reverses the Missouri Compromise. Okay? Now, we're going to start to see a lot of drama unfolding as more and more people pour into Kansas to decide whether it's going to be a slave state or a free state. Next class, we'll talk about how that unfolds. Then in 1857, we have the Dred Scott versus Sanford case. Dred Scott was a slave whose master took him into the Northern Territories. Once Dred Scott went into the Northern Territories, he declared himself a free man. This case went all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court decided the following things. Slaves are property. And just like a man can move his chair from one state to the next, he can move his slaves from one state to the next. Slave owners had the right to take slaves anywhere. Basically, what Dred Scott versus Sanford establishes is that restricting slavery is illegal. In other words, slavery can be anywhere. Now, as you see, these are the seeds that are sowing the destruction of our nation as we prepare to go into a civil war, the North versus the South. These issues are going to just grow and grow and grow. In next class, we're going to continue to talk about the causes of the Civil War. Thank you.